Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I want to talk about safety in Belize. I've done several videos on, is Belize safe and what you hear on the outside versus what actually happens inside of Belize. And, you know, s- uh, Belize, I've always said, in my opinion, is a very safe place to be. To me, it's safer than the US or a lot of the major cities that I lived in the US. Belize is absolutely, in my opinion, safer than most of the major cities that I lived in the US, and doesn't have near the amount of crime as most major US cities. Unfortunately, last night, 10 people lost their lives on the George Price Highway in a road traffic accident. And just last week, I was at the highway patrol and I was getting my vehicle re-inspected so I could redo the registration on my vehicle, which you have to do that every year when you hear, of course, they walk around the vehicle, they make sure your lights work, your blinkers, your brake lights. And the guy who was doing the inspection asked if I had a YouTube channel because he recognized me, thought I was the one that was doing YouTube. And I said, yes. And anyways, long story short, I ended up spending about 30 minutes with this gentleman who worked for the Highway Patrol. And we had a lot of different conversations, but they're just now getting to where they're computerized here, which is a really good thing. But then we started talking about the number of fatal accidents that are happening on the roads here in Belize. And we just happened to be talking about one that happened in the Belize district on the George Price Highway where, unfortunately there was another fatality that happened to a woman, and they were rear-ended by somebody who was intoxicated. And we got into a really deep conversation here, or excuse me, there at the Highway Patrol office, about what their thoughts were and about what my thoughts were coming from the States. And let me tell you what, the most deadly thing, and of course this is just my opinion, the most deadly thing going on in Belize right now is fatal traffic accidents. And it's not just cars, this is vans with school kids, it's tourists and taxis, it's motorcycle riders, it's kids as young as 13 getting in accidents on the major roads here. And you have to keep in mind, all the roads here in Belize are 2-lane roads. So if you have, in the States or a lot of other bigger countries where you have 6-lane roads, they're all going the same direction, and there's an accident, it's normally not as bad. Even though there's a lot of debris, it's normally not as bad because all the vehicles are moving in the same direction. But the most deadliest accidents anywhere in the world are 2-lane roads where the traffic is coming at each other. And the accidents that happen here are horrible, and they are claiming so many lives. In fact, it's become such a problem here that just recently, the prime minister, I know the deputy prime minister had said something about it. And of course, the Compol just came out and was speaking about this one that happened last night, which is a good thing. But the conversation that I was having with the highway patrol person was how they were bringing in radar guns and other things to really try to get a handle on the traffic problems that they're having in Belize. And since I've been here, no matter who was at fault last night, and this is, one of the things that we had the conversation about, no matter who was at fault last night, there should have never been 9 people in a Toyota Corolla. So the accident that happened last night, there was 10 people that unfortunately lost their lives, and may they rest in peace, and condolences to their families. It's really heartbreaking, and it's really shook Belize to its core. And hopefully something good will come out of this as far as protecting the people on the roads in Belize. Because the one thing that I noticed, These were all young adults and kids that were involved in this accidents that it just, there should have never been that many people, 9 people in a Toyota Corolla that was a taxi. And, this is the conversation that me and the gentleman at the Highway Patrol office were having. I had just told him that I had just come through Belmapon and I had just seen a family on a motorcycle, a young child with the father, with another young child and the mother, and only 2 wearing helmets. And of course, that is against the law here. And so many of these accidents, in my opinion, are preventable. They don't have to happen, and I know that I'm not the only one, because I don't just see tourists complaining about the way people drive here and the intoxicated people. It's locals. It is, everybody is complaining. So I figured that after what happened last night, it would be the time to come out and say something about this, and just basically to point out what I've seen when I've been here. People that want to come here, backpackers, and they want to get on a bus to go from point A to point B. Man, I got to tell you, I would not recommend that at all. And yeah, I'm going to say it. I would not get on a bus here in Belize. These buses that I see, especially on the Hummingbird Highway, man, the Hummingbird Highway, the George Price, the Northern Highway, the Southern, I've been on all of them. I've been on all of these roads here. And these buses, man, they are just, what are you in such a rush for? Where are you going? Do you not realize that when people get on your bus, that conductor, the person driving that bus, is responsible for every single life on that bus? Anytime somebody gets into a taxi here in Belize, the driver of that taxi is responsible for every single person that is in that vehicle. And that's why I'm saying there should have never been that many people in a Toyota Corolla. If it wasn't the people who was riding, it should have been the driver's responsibility to say, I cannot put that many people in my vehicle. But once again, you see this here all the time, and it really dumbfounds me and it blows my mind, especially with people. Most of the accidents here happen from vehicles trying to pass other vehicles, like I said, on these 2-lane roads. And most of the shoulders here on these roads, if you've ever been to Belize, man, if you get your tires off of the road, especially on the George Price, the odds of you rolling your vehicle are probably 7 in 10. You're not getting your vehicle back up on that road. I'm talking about the soft shoulder in some areas is a good foot, foot and a half, and it's absolutely nuts, in my opinion, that something hasn't been done with the shoulders of these roads. But yes, watching, and it's not just buses who overtake people that are doing, and I mean, these buses will overtake people doing 60, 70 miles an hour. They're going to come around you. And it's just like, why are you in such a rush? You are responsible for everybody's life who was on that bus. Me, that's why I can't get on a bus, because I would be screaming at the top of my lungs at who's ever driving the bus to either slow down or pull over and let me off. And let me tell you what, like I said, it's not just me. There are so many people. My wife sometimes, she does that, where she gets white knuckled in the passenger seat as we're driving down the road, approaching a bend, and you'll see somebody who's overtaking in our lane, and it's normally buses, taxis, and motorcycles. And on the, just in case you don't know, the double yellow line on a road means do not pass for either the left or the right. You are not supposed to cross those lines. You see people here do it all the time. People are so cavalier with their lives here in Belize on these roads. Belize's main problem right now are these roads. It's not what you would hear about, home invasion, a robbery, a store being held up. Those crimes happen everywhere. But I'm talking the amount of people that are dying on Belize's roads right now is out of control. It doesn't have to be this way here. And like I said, the majority of these people are young kids who probably haven't even been taught properly how to drive a motorcycle, how to drive a car, how to pass when it's safe. Just, you know, like I said, I'm hoping that something good is going to come out of this accident and they really start cracking down on this, because the future of Belize is dying on a weekly basis in traffic accidents that don't need to be happening. They absolutely don't need to be happening. And it's actually nice to see that the higher ups are coming out and they're speaking out about it. But you can't just, you can't just speak out about it. Now's the time that you have to take action. You absolutely have to take action. I mean, I see videos every day on Facebook and TikTok here of people filming intoxicated people on motorcycles that are in front of them, buses passing in no passing zones, passing around corners, people being driven off the road because somebody's trying to overtake somebody else. And anybody who's ever been to Belize or lives here in Belize, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Times need to change. There is too many young adults, kids, children losing their lives because people cannot be responsible behind the wheel, and it has to change. It absolutely has to change. You can't just have all these fatality accidents. I mean, it's just killing Belize. It's killing Belize's future. Belize's future is dying in road traffic accidents in Belize. You know, it's so unfortunate. Like I said, 10 people. This is the worst accident in Belize's history. 10 people lost their lives yesterday, and 9 of them were all in one vehicle, and the other one was on a motorcycle, and there was another SUV involved where 4 people were in that, but they survived. So there was a total of 14 people involved in this accident. 10 of those lost their lives. It shouldn't have been like that. It absolutely shouldn't have been like that. Like I said, rest in peace to those who lost their lives, and condolences to the families. And everybody in Belize needs to get up and stand up together and start voicing their opinion and start saying something, man. If you see something, say something, because like I said, even watching these families that are on these motorcycles, and I understand that you may only have a motorcycle, but in my head, when I see it, my first thought is, why would you risk your kids' lives? Is wherever you have to go that important that you put 4 people on a motorcycle and sometimes only one of you has a helmet on, and it's normally never the kids? Or what happens if something happens to you and your kids get left? I mean, just the rationale, the thinking here has just got to change. So many people are losing their lives, and so many more are going to lose their lives unless something changes. Something has to change, and it has to change now. Thank you for watching this video. Please, if you got somebody you can call to make a difference here in Belize about what's going on these roads, please, pick up the phone, send a message, something, call the mayors, the city councils, whatever you have to do. Put up signs, just what everybody can make a difference. Everybody can save the future of Belize. This country is absolutely beautiful, and it's losing its future. Its young adults and children are dying to accidents, and it absolutely should not be this way. Not in the numbers that it's happening. Here's a look at some of the people who have lost their lives recently here in Belize. Like I said, it's a sad situation. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, everybody. If you're in Belize and you're driving around on these roads, learn defensive driving. Watch your surroundings. Take care of each other. And if you feel uncomfortable, if you're riding with somebody or on a bus and it doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to stand up and say, let me off, or don't be afraid to everybody stand up at once and say, hey, you need to start driving a little bit better because you're responsible for our lives. Thanks for watching. Rest in peace. Condolences to the family.